guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's definitely been a while. A lot of stuff has been happening. I've been moving countries like always. I don't know how many residence permits I've collected within the past 2 years, but you know, that's what I'm known for, I guess, moving countries all the time. I think if you would have told me about this like 2 or 3 years ago, I would not have believed you that I would have lived in this many countries up until now, and not just visited. You know, I've been a proper resident, because always going from one country to the other is getting really stressful. So yeah, I'm still living my dream life. I mean, what more can I ask for? I'm always asking for more, don't get me wrong, but what more can I ask for than to simply live my dreams and move around the world? But today is all about you. It's all about teaching you how you can control your dreams through lucid dreaming. That's the scientific term, I guess, or the proper term. But essentially what it is you being aware that you're dreaming. You're already doing this, but you want to know that you're doing it, and you want to be aware that you're doing it if that's what you want. That's the point of lucid dreaming. You're already dreaming every single day. You have millions of dreams every day. Maybe not millions, but you know, a lot of them. You don't only just dream one thing, it's multiple things. And if you're lucky, most times you might remember one of them, but you might not know that you're in them when you're in them. So yeah, that's exactly what we're getting to today. We want to learn how we can control our dreams. So there's a few steps to this whole thing, and I want to start with the first one, which is building dream recall, because it's a really important one, because we're already dreaming, you know, but we need to build recall. We need to be able to remember that we're dreaming. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, there's multiple ways. We can either have a dream journal, we can have dream voice memos. The possibilities are honestly endless. Whatever feels most natural to you is what you should do, because that's usually what ends up working out the best. I started off with dream journaling, but now I just have the voice memo thing on my home screen, so that I don't even need to open up my phone. I just need to hold my finger onto my phone screen and it records, and I'll just tell my phone whatever dream I have. And what's important here is that you're noting down everything, even if it's just fragments of your dream, because that's exactly what's gonna get us to building our dream memory, even if you think that it might be pointless information. However, even though I'm doing the voice memo thing, I would recommend you to start off with dream journaling, because writing down stuff is usually engaging your memory better than just talking about stuff. What you can also do is say out loud and write down what you're writing down, because then you see what you're writing down, you're saying what you're writing down, and you're hearing what you're writing down. So that's really the most you can do, and that's what I would recommend you to start off with if you haven't done any sort of thing like this before. Now, before we start off, I just want to clarify the terminology of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is essentially just you becoming aware that you're dreaming and taking control of your dreams and being able to do anything. I mean, whatever you can do. I mean, whatever your mind can think is what you can do in your dreams, whether that's flying, whether that's being a wizard. You know, there's literally no limits. Your mind is your limit, and what you can imagine is your limit. And what I've found it to be is that we usually have less limits in our dreams than in reality, because in reality, our ego and our subconscious mind is not as present as in our dreams. So we tend to judge ourselves on what we can do and what we cannot do. So in our dreams, all that part is gone, and we can do whatever we want. So that's pretty amazing. Before we jump over to the next step, I just want to talk about astral traveling as well, because it kind of goes hand in hand with lucid dreaming. It's pretty similar. You might have heard of it before. What astral dreaming is you leaving your body and going around in the world, in the astral plane, in the astral dimension of the world, while you're asleep. Anything material, anything physical that us humans would not be able to pass through, like a wall. We cannot just walk through a wall, right? I mean, maybe some people can do it that have a really high consciousness, that are really connected to their higher self. But I mean, I personally don't know anyone. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think you get the point. So now you know what our astral body is, and our astral body is basically connected to our body by this imaginary string. And everything is energy anyway, but our astral body, you can also imagine it as our soul. and with that we can and with our astral body we can travel through the world, as it is now. And I want to bring something up here because you can pretty much do anything when you're astral traveling. I'll go into more detail in my astral dreaming video, but there's a few things you cannot do when you're astral traveling, and I also wouldn't recommend you to do them, which is go to highly controversial, guarded places, because there's people up there, not literally up there, but you know, the higher ups, I guess, and governments and stuff that know about astral traveling, astral projection, and all of that. And they have been prepared for the longest time ever. They have guards in the astral realm and the astral plane that will prevent you from going to certain places. But if you want to know more about that, I'm gonna make a separate video, and you can leave me a comment down below if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, let's keep going with lucid dreaming because that's what this video is about. Next thing I want to get to is decalcifying your pineal gland, or also your third. The next thing I want to bring up is decalcifying your pineal gland or your third eye. It's basically the same thing. It's a little gland that we have in our head, in our brain, that is able to connect us with the spiritual realm, with our higher self and everything. But through consuming the stuff that we consume daily, but by living our day-to-day lives and how society is set up, our pineal gland is usually calcified, especially when we drink tap water, when we use fluoride toothpaste, and all of that. So there's a few things we can do to decalcify our pineal gland, like avoiding heavy metals, using fluoride-free toothpaste, using a water filter, and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm gonna make a separate video about decalcifying your pineal gland as well. I'm gonna link it in the bio. Maybe it's up already when you're seeing this video. But yes, what we need to do is decalcify our pineal gland. And if you've been baptized, you might have your pineal gland more calcified than other people, because baptizing someone is essentially closing off your third eye. I mean, they do the movement up here, right where your third eye is symbolically. So yes, but let's get into the topic of what we can do before falling asleep or when we're about to fall asleep to maximize the chances of lucid dreaming. The most basic thing that you can do, that I started off doing as well, is grab your hand right here, and in your day-to-day life, grab your thumb and ask yourself, am I dreaming right now? And usually if you're dreaming, you're gonna notice right away, because sometimes you might be able to push your thumb through your fingers because you're dreaming, and you know, technically anything is possible. But in your day-to-day life, if you do it 5 to 10 times a day or something like that, it becomes a habit. And if it becomes a habit in your day-to-day life, you might remember doing it in your dreams as well. So that's a really effective way of doing that. There's other habits that you can establish as well, like looking at the clock a few times a day and seeing if the time changes. Look there, look back, look there, and see if the time changes. In your dreams, there might be irregularities, and when you're checking back the second time, the time might have changed or something else. Or you can read a text, look away, read it again, maybe the text changed, then you know you're dreaming. That's reality checks, and they're really effective. That's what I started off doing as well. And I'm not sure how long it took me to have my first lucid dream, but for the past 4 to 5 years, I think I've been actively able to dream lucidly. Especially during 2021, we were in a special era of the world. I had a lot of time on my hands and was really able to focus on that, but you don't need a lot of time. It's really easy. You can also use a technique that's called MILD, which translates into mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, which is essentially you telling yourself, next time I'm dreaming, I know that I'm dreaming, before you fall asleep. You can tell yourself that a few times. You can tell yourself all the time before you fall asleep. If you do this regularly, there's a high chance that you're going to be aware that you're going to be dreaming next time you're going to be dreaming, and you're going to be able to control your dreams. Now we're coming to my absolute favorite part about lucid dreaming, the part that really made it possible for me, that was the most effective for me, which is that wake back to bed method. You can do this in many different ways. People have a lot of explanations for this method, and there's really no rule to it. Whatever works best for you is what's gonna make it easiest for you to lucid dream. And the way that I did it is I set a timer a few minutes before I actually had to wake up. So if I had to wake up at 8 a.m., I would set a timer at 7:25 or 7:30. And when I'm turning off that timer, that alarm at 7:30 or 7:25, whenever it is, just maybe half an hour before you actually have to wake up, try to not open your eyes. Try to turn it off just with your hand, and don't open the curtains. Make sure your room is still dark. If you don't have blackout curtains, that's something I would definitely recommend you to have as well, regardless of lucid dreaming. That's something I'll bring up in the pineal gland video as well. But try to turn off the alarm without actually opening your eyes. And you might already notice that you're still kind of in this phase where you're able to fall back asleep really quickly. You know, we all have this phase. We're sometimes snoozing our alarms and we're going back to sleep. What's important here is that you try to imagine something that you want to dream of. And that's the part that really did it for me. When I did that, it was crazy. I almost instantly started to lucid dream after doing that for the first time. I didn't even do it on purpose. That's the funniest part, because during 2020, when we were trapped in our houses and we didn't really have a schedule, I would sleep so much that I would just snooze my alarm and keep on sleeping. And yeah, that's how I became a pro in lucid dreaming. And I think you should try this method. Out of all of the methods and out of all the things that I just told you now, I think this one is the most important one. So even if you're not doing the rest, just do this one. Make sure to do this one. It really doesn't matter that much if you're doing all the other stuff. If you want to be quick and accelerate the whole thing, then do all the other stuff. It definitely helps. But for me, I definitely believe that if you do this, you should be able to achieve lucid dreaming in a really quick time. What's obviously also important is that you have a proper sleeping schedule, because sleep is important for us, and it also helps regulate our pineal gland and decalcify it. If you have an irregular sleeping schedule, it might disrupt some patterns, and that's not good. Just try to sleep properly. 7 to 9 hours is what we need as humans, and I usually sleep between 8 and 9 hours. There's another way to induce lucid dreams, which is before you're falling asleep, try to stay as still as possible. Try to not move at all, and try to imagine yourself being in that dream already. So this is called the wall technique, and you need to stay completely still, not stiff. You need to be relaxed, but try to not move at all. And if you do this, you might achieve lucid dreaming. I did this for a while as well, but it's not my favorite part. You can try it. Whatever works best for you is what makes you lucid dream the easiest. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, because there's something called the path of least resistance, and whatever comes easiest, whatever has the least resistance for you, is what's going to work out for you. And there's one more thing I want to say before I end this video, and that is stop pressuring yourself. If you pressure yourself, it's going to be so much harder for your body and for your mind to get into the lucid dreaming state, because pressure is the worst thing. It's stress, and it's just going to make it a million times harder for you to be able to lucid dream. So don't pressure yourself. Take everything naturally. I know you want to lucid dream, but trust the timing, trust yourself, trust the universe, trust that it will happen. And that's the easiest way to go. And yeah, that's pretty much it with the video. Thank you for watching until here. If you're here, make sure to check me out on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below or write me a DM. I always share DMs that I get from my videos in my Instagram stories. So if you have any question, definitely let me know, and leave me a like if you enjoyed this video, and a sub, and maybe check the bell. And I hope to see you next time. And yeah, let me know which video you want to see next. Bye guys.